everyone, I'm back, and I figured since it was the middle of the summer and it's almost Shark Week that I would do a Sharks in the Cinema retrospective. And I wanted to first talk about my favorite shark movie, which is Jaws, which I feel like is most people's favorite shark movie. I feel like this is a combination of perfect acting, great directing, good suspense, and a great looking shark. And I personally think it is Steven Spielberg's best film. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I just think it was a masterpiece of cinema. And I just want to go through all the shark movies of note since Jaws and talk about what really works in shark films and what doesn't work in shark films. And there is a lot to cover. So here is my Shark in the Cinema retrospective. So I want to start with the Jaws sequels themselves. I feel like out of all the sequels, Jaws 2 best captures what the first Jaws had, the magic of the original Jaws. Now, it's not to say it didn't have its hiccups and it wasn't formulaic and cheesy at times, poorly acted at times by the teenagers in the movie. There are definitely some standouts. The little boy who plays Sean, I believe, the younger Brody brother. I felt like he was a really good child actor, and I feel like Roy Scheider did his best. Coming back again, I feel like he was maybe under contract or something to come back again. There's definitely a feeling of let's throw this together, let's milk it for all it's worth, let's get the most money we can. But I personally like, as I go on through this list, it kind of becomes a pet peeve of mine, but I personally like using the mechanical shark. I personally am not a fan of the CG sharks in later shark movies, but I'll get to that later. So that was a plus for me that they were still using the mechanical shark. And also, like in the first one, they use actual shark videos. So someone was down in the water filming actual sharks. So yeah, I really enjoyed that about it. It got a little cheesy at times. The death of the shark at the end kind of feels a little cheesy. It just seems like they were really trying too hard. But like I said, out of all the sequels, I feel like this was the most successful sequel. When you get to Jaws 3, this one takes place at SeaWorld. It has Dennis Quaid as the older Birdie brother, and I feel like it was the 80s and 3D was becoming like a thing, like a hot commodity in film, but they really hadn't perfected it, obviously, like they have now. And it was just the story was where they had it, the setting was good at SeaWorld. It was interesting, but the acting was just so bad. And it felt like they were just trying to push a new Jaws movie out there. They wanted to use the 3D, thought it was a cool idea, but they didn't really put a lot of effort into it. There's a scene in the movie where the shark is coming up, he's in 3D, and he's moving, but he's just doing this. There's no fin moving, there's no emotion from the shark, it's just a straight shark into the glass, and it just looks so bad, and it makes it almost unwatchable now because the 3D is so bad. Um, but still not to the level of cheese and unfortunateness that is Jaws the Revenge. Jaws the Revenge, it has almost no redeeming qualities. There is one scene I feel like when I was younger scared me, but now it's just, it's in a movie where it's ridiculous. The shark is somehow related to the sharks of the first couple shark movies, whatever. And he follows the Brody family. Chief Brody is dead, and Lorraine Gary, who plays the wife, has moved the family to the Caribbean or whatever. And it's just so silly. The shark follows them to the Caribbean, and it's just so goofy. And the way the shark dies at the end, he's roaring. Oh, it's so unfortunate. There's absolutely no redeeming qualities to it. It's so sad, and it feels like such a jarring departure from what the original was. But definitely, out of all of the shark movies on this retrospective, I feel like that one is the biggest disappointment because it is part of the beloved Jaws franchise. And it's just a sad way because there has been no other Jaws movie. So what a sad way and what a sad note to leave the franchise. So anyway, those are the Jaws sequels. Okay, so getting past the Jaws franchise, another shark movie that was very popular, at least during my time, my generation, was Deep Blue Sea. And Deep Blue Sea definitely had its scary shark moments. But where it had its scary shark moments, it had its cheesy CG sharks. And I feel like the story was just so overblown and it was just silly. The whole point of the movie, well, the movie starts out with scientists or marine biologists in a laboratory, science laboratory in the middle of the ocean, which is a silly idea in itself. But they have done something like engineered the DNA of the sharks to make them smarter, I guess. And I think they're trying to use their brain tissue to cure Alzheimer's, is what I think is going on. So already there, it's like, okay, they're making this story overblown just so we'd have smart sharks. And, which is okay, but it just is silly. The acting is not good. I feel like the main actress in the movie, there's a scene where she just randomly takes off her clothes and stands on them for no reason. Like, there's no point, and it's just put in there just to have like a, ooh, look how good she looks scene. And I don't know, none of it really lands for me. And those scenes that might have been scary are in a movie where it's just so cheesy overall. And I feel like this was the time in which all shark movies were over the top cheesy. There's a scene in particular in this movie with Samuel L. Jackson, and he's making this big speech, and a shark just jumps up and grabs him and then pulls him in, and it just looks so bad, and it just takes you out of the movie because it looks so bad. And I don't know, where this movie could have been great, where it had brilliant ideas, it just didn't land. None of it landed. So anyway, that was the Deep Blue Sea. Definitely popular in its time, but I don't think it holds up well today. So there are two recent shark movies that I just watched within the last 2 weeks. And I feel as though where we had our Sharknadoes and Sharktopus, like the sci-fi cheesy shark movie era, now we're kind of ushering in a more serious and sophisticated shark movie, which I am so excited about. Now, I watched these two recent shark movies and I really liked one of them, and the other I thought was just okay. The one I thought was just okay was The Shallows with Blake Lively, and I really feel like Blake Lively gave a really great performance, and there's a seagull in this movie that gives a great performance too. And again, it takes me out of the movie when you have such a good build-up, you are giving time for the tension to build, and then all of a sudden, when the shark actually shows up, it's this big, silly CGI shark. This movie had, I think, one of the most interesting shark deaths, and like I said before, Blake Lively was really good in it. The CGI always takes me out of it, and I feel like when we had the big build-up, it wasn't really worth it in the end, but I still feel like it was a valiant effort because this shark movie kind of steered the shark horror genre back into a serious direction, and I really like that about this movie. The other movie that I recently watched was 47 Meters Down with Mandy Moore. I went into this movie thinking it was going to be terrible because the marketing for this movie looked really bad and cheesy. And I watched it, and where it did have some cheesy moments, some cheesy dialogue, I felt like they gave a really terrifying shark movie. And they did something so different. I don't know how scientifically accurate this movie is, but it was terrifying when they go down to the bottom of the ocean, not the bottom of the ocean, 47 meters down, and they're in this cage, and they have to go out of the cage, and when they swim out, they can't see anything around them. It's just open ocean. And that is so terrifying to me. And I feel like, what a smart decision. And when the sharks actually came, yes, they were CG sharks again, but I felt like the suspense and the build-up in this movie really paid off. And the shark moments in the movie were really terrifying. And I think the acting by the two sisters, Mandy Moore, and I can't remember the other actress's name, but they did a really, really good job. The ending is kind of a cop-out. It kind of plays with you a little bit because you think it's going to go one way and then it takes you a different way. I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it yet because it is so new and it's still in theaters. But I felt like this took the shark genre of movie and it really did something different, interesting, and really terrifying with it. And I am shocked that, oh, not shocked, but it's interesting to see that it got such mixed reviews because I thought it was so well done and so interesting. So that was 47 Meters Down. So I think in order to have the winning formula to a shark movie is take your time showing the shark. That's why the original Jaws did so well, I think, is because they really waited and milked every second until you actually saw the shark the first time. And when you actually saw the shark the first time, it was terrifying. I feel like the less you show the sharks, the better. Also, CGI sharks do not work, I don't think. Yes, you can do more with them. It's easier to do, but I am a firm believer in the mechanical shark. And I always feel like that looks better. And the technology we have today, we could really make a realistic, great looking, moving mechanical shark. And I feel like now we're in a new shark movie renaissance. And I am really, really loving it. And I hope we see more movies like 47 Meters Down and The Shallows, because it was a great effort into filmmaking, and I just really enjoyed them. So that has been my shark movie retrospective. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy your summer. Hopefully you don't run into any sharks at the beach. um, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.